Dr. Ahmet Han from the Kadir University in Turkey, thank you very much for appearing on Jerusalem Center Online and for speaking at the Jerusalem Center Conference on the Sykes-Picot Agreement and the 100-year anniversary. You raised the issue of the new Turkey and their attitude of anti-imperialism and the issue of Islamism. My question to you is, how does that fit, those two issues, with Israel today, with Israel's existence, and is there a contradiction, is there cooperation?
Well, with Israel, of course, for a very long time there was cooperation, but within the context that I outlined in the conference, until 2009, Davos affair of 1 minute, where President Erdogan and Shimon Peres has exchanged a few words, which was a big diplomatic scandal in its own right. Turkey under AKP was trying to go beyond the SARS syndrome. And those were the times where constructive relations with all parties and mediation role amongst all parties that are concerned in the Middle East was possible for Turkey. From 2009 onwards, this scenery has changed profoundly. One reason was the hubris that was introduced right in the aftermath of the Arab Spring, that even enabled President Erdogan, then Prime Minister, to carry out public rallies in the middle of Cairo. I mean, a leader of another country being able to do that is an exceptional phenomena, but it speaks very well to the mind of the political Islam, which is by nature arguing that these states are of Western creation. What is important and what should be put a premium on is the Islamic identity of all those nations of the Middle East and North Africa, but especially the Middle East including Egypt. These were good times until 2009, and from 2009 until 2013, the hubris and what was introduced to the relations by what has happened with Mr. Peres in Davos, the influence that was introduced to the relations by what was happening throughout the Arab Spring, and the leverage or the misperception of the leverage that it provided to Turkish foreign policy in the eyes of the ruling party, AKP, and its leadership, has turned the tide. After 2013, early summer, late May, after the Gezi events, it became more about regime security. So there was another shift. And that shift also was not very much facilitating to good relations between Israel and Turkey, because from that point on, domestic politics dictated that the governing party, to keep its power and for Mr. Erdogan to stay where he is and to go the extra mile to become the all-powerful president that he would like to become, became complicated and necessitated consolidation of the voter preferences and a rallying of at least the core constituency behind AKP and Mr. Erdogan. Under such circumstances, it is very hard for Mr. Erdogan and the AKP to publicly come to terms with Israel, or change the rhetoric, or put in efforts to change this rhetoric of Sykes-Picot, of the separation of the Muslim nations of the Middle East throughout a larger Western conspiracy, becomes very, very, as I said, problematic. As a matter of fact, today Turkey and Israel has strategic interests which overlap profoundly, perhaps even more than the 1990s, the heyday of the relations. However, and I also believe that the positions of the two countries when it comes to negotiations of finding a way out of their impasse is pretty close to each other. But those are like two parallel, very close lines. When would they cross each other? When would we be able to find a solution? In my mind, this will only be possible after the question of whether or not Mr. Erdogan would become the president that he wants is answered. from that point on, I believe that he would be more interested to work with Israel, even under the scenario that he's not able to do so, even under the scenario that he's not able to achieve the presidency as he wants, he would still be much more conducive to trying to create leverage for Turkey and Israel in the larger region through relations that would come closer.